Browns going to do with Odell Beckham Jr.? Obviously, the trade deadline is over, so you cannot trade him to any team, right? I mean, you can trade him in the off season when the season's over, and like after the Super Bowl and all that stuff. And right now, the way the Browns are constructed, the way the Browns are playing, they're not going to go to the freaking playoffs. So they're going to get a pretty good draft pick, like at this current pace that they're in. But let's say the Cleveland Browns outright release Odell Beckham Jr. He's like, you know what? You have played your last snap in Cleveland as a Brown. Get out of here. You do what you want. And Odell Beckham Jr. goes through the waivers process, etc. Where does he land? Where does he fit? I have 4 teams written down here that would probably chomp at the bits to get a player like Odell Beckham Jr. Now, I'm not saying Odell Beckham Jr. is a great receiver. Go ahead and put that asterisk by the right now. I think he's highly overrated, and he is living off of his catch from 2012. Right, that's all he has done. But team number 1 that comes to mind is the New Orleans Saints. Why do the New Orleans Saints come to mind? Because of Michael Thomas. Michael Thomas has been ruled out for the rest of the season with that ankle injury, and Michael Thomas has kind of been a player that wants to get out from New Orleans anyway. So that's probably why he has not been taking his rehab as serious, right? So probably saying, Odell Beckham Jr. to the Saints would be a good pick. I've actually been saying that for most of the season because, the whole Michael Thomas injury. Number 2 here are the LA Rams. If you guys have not heard, they have released Deshaun Jackson, which was their deep threat guy, even though we'll be talking to him later in the show here. Deshaun Jackson hasn't done a lot for the Rams, but a player like Odell Beckham Jr. that still does have that deep threat capability and good hands, he could definitely thrive on a team like the Rams because there is a quarterback, Matthew Stafford, there that will put him in check. There is a team like the LA Rams that will put Odell Beckham Jr. in check. If they're seeing any signs of cancer from him whatsoever, he is out the door. I guarantee you that. Number 3, the Green Bay Packers. Yes, the Green Bay Packers have a lot of receivers on their roster as is. Like they got like obviously Adams and Lazard, and the list goes on and on and on. But I think Odell Beckham Jr. would be a great number 3 or number 2 in Green Bay. And exactly what I said about the Rams, they have that structure, they have that team, they have Aaron Rodgers that would put a player like Odell Beckham Jr. in check. Make sure he does not get out of line and start causing a cancer. Now, this team kind of came up to me last minute here because of we know the whole situation with the Ruggs thing and whatnot, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But obviously the Las Vegas Raiders would obviously, probably chomp at the bits to get a player like Odell Beckham Jr. as well. However, I do not think Odell Beckham Jr. would thrive in Las Vegas like he would in LA or Green Bay. Also, one other place that he might fit well in is Miami. Miami just needs that notoriety guy to really, spread out the offense a little bit. Obviously he would not thrive there very well as well. So the 3 teams that I think he would thrive really well in is New Orleans Saints, the LA Rams, of course, the Green Bay Packers.